I transmigrated into a doctor in a domineering CEO novel, and the female lead was diagnosed with an ectopic pregnancy. The CEO grabbed her wrist domineeringly and said, "I want this child." Then he ordered me, "Move the fetus from outside the womb to inside the womb." I was speechless. It's been a month since I transmigrated into this ridiculous domineering CEO novel. But hearing such a demand still gives me the absurd feeling of a 90-year-old grandma piloting a bomber to blow me up. The protagonist of this book, Lucas, is the ultimate player among scumbags, hesitating between three women at the same time. He adheres to the principle of fairness and justice, tormenting all three women to the point of misery. If I had heard him say this a month ago, I would have definitely made him get his head checked at the psychiatric department. But now I have matured, and I deeply understand that the world of domineering CEOs doesn't need logic. Is it reasonable for a billionaire business elite to not know about ectopic pregnancy? In this world, what exists is reasonable. I adjusted my glasses and remained silent, while a colleague, a random passerby, couldn't help but explain to him that ectopic pregnancy is unacceptable. Upon hearing this, the domineering CEO Lucas angrily scolded, "Useless." Lily leaned weakly into his arms and said, "We are destined not to have children." Lucas looked at me coldly and said firmly, "Dr. Molly, you can do it, right?" I confidently gave a thumbs up. Lily smiled. My colleague was petrified. After all, Lily would be heartbroken and leave in 3 days because Lucas was going to marry someone else for a business alliance, and she would undergo an ectopic pregnancy surgery alone. I just need to put on an act for these 3 days. Forget about moving it from outside to inside the womb. I'd even say it's moved to the brain. I had already come to terms with it on the very first day I arrived. To change my cannon fodder life, Lucas is the best ATM machine. I need to make money, go all out to make money. Sure enough, Lucas was very satisfied with my confidence and immediately hired me as his personal physician. 2 days later, at 1 o'clock in the middle of the night, I was sound asleep when I received a call from Lucas. "Dr. Molly, Lily is feeling very unwell. I want to see you at the villa within 10 minutes. Perfect, the standard setup for a domineering CEO romance novel doctor. Always getting calls in the middle of the night to rush over and treat the female lead. I slowly put on my clothes, pretending to sound anxious in my tone. "Oh my, how could this happen? Poor Miss Lily, may Buddha bless her. I'm already on my way. Just one more turn and I'll be there. Wait for me." When I arrived at the villa with the medical kit, Lily was wiping her nose, looking rosy-cheeked and not particularly unwell. Lucas was pacing anxiously around the room, his face gloomy. "Don't worry. I will definitely cure you. Don't even think about leaving me again." I rolled my eyes when he wasn't looking. "Dude, it's just a minor cold. Isn't it a bit much?" I took a box of cold medicine from the medical kit. "It's nothing serious. Just take it twice a day." Lucas immediately cut me off and said, "My woman never takes such cheap medicine. You didn't even do an examination. Are you looking down on me?" I was silent for a moment, then immediately changed my expression. "This illness is very tricky," Lucas said. "Just tell me." I made a list for him. "First, you need to take Miss Lily for a full cardiopulmonary examination, a complete surgical checkup, a routine gynecological exam, a vaginal discharge routine test, a liquid-based thin-layer cytology test, an ENT examination, an electrocardiogram, a complete blood count, liver function tests, kidney function tests, serum total cholesterol measurement, serum triglyceride measurement, fasting blood glucose, and a quantitative alpha-fetoprotein test." After saying it all in one breath, I took a deep gulp of air and continued, "And while you're at it, get an eye exam too. After all, she didn't even notice what a huge idiot you are. It's hard not to question her eyesight." Lucas frowned and asked the butler beside him, "Did you write everything down?" The butler nodded. "I did." I only realized there was a butler with an extremely low presence in the room when I heard the voice. He didn't look very old and was rather serious. Wait a minute, is he twitching at the corner of his mouth? Is he secretly laughing? Upon closer inspection, there's nothing unusual. Lucas looked at me with admiration in his eyes. "Dr. Molly, you truly live up to my trust. You are very professional." I nodded and smiled. "Yes, I professionally identify idiots. It's really unreasonable that the hospital doesn't give me a commission." After giving all the instructions, I pointed at the air conditioner. "If we could turn off the 15 degrees Celsius air conditioning, Miss Lily might recover a bit faster." This time I definitely didn't mishear. The butler was snickering. Lily was taken by Lucas for a checkup as soon as day broke. According to the plot, she would overhear gossip at the hospital about Lucas's impending marriage to the heiress of the Smith family conglomerate. Lily was heartbroken on the spot and secretly slipped out of the hospital, leaving without a trace. Lucas was both anxious and furious, vowing to search the entire city to find her, while the male and female leads were playing out the "she runs, he chases, she can't escape" drama. I was hauling a cartload of counterfeit vases and porcelain to the villa. "What is Dr. Molly doing?" the villa's nanny suddenly called out to me. I was taken aback and hadn't yet figured out how to make up an excuse when a clear, crisp voice spoke up. It was the butler, who calmly explained. "Dr. Molly is very health conscious. We don't have dumbbells here, so she had to use a vase for her workout." I was speechless. The nanny quickly apologized. "That was my oversight. I'll have someone prepare one for Dr. Molly right away." After she left, the butler looked me up and down and said, "I know you're also a transmigrator. You want to swap out the antiques in the villa to sell them. Don't be foolish." Although Lucas is clueless, this villa often has visitors, and anyone with a bit of expertise would spot a fake at a glance. I gave him a mysterious smile and continued moving my fake antiques. Then I quietly swapped out all the real ones. 2 hours later, Lucas stormed back into the villa. In the living room, he was both furious and amused, raging helplessly. "That damn woman, she ran away. She actually ran away again." I tried to persuade him earnestly from the side. "Mr. Lucas, please calm down. Don't worry about Miss Lily. Maybe she has already left City A and found her freedom." My words only made Lucas even angrier. He kicked the couch fiercely. "Where could she possibly go, pregnant with my child? I will definitely find her and bring her back," I exclaimed. "Be careful, Mr. Lou, don't touch that vase. Miss Lily loves these bottles the most. It would be such a shame if it broke." Upon hearing this, Lucas immediately grabbed a nearby vase and smashed it violently. The vase shattered with a crisp, clear sound. His eyes widened with fury as he began to laugh hysterically. How dare she leave me?" With every word he spoke, he picked up another vase and smashed it. In just half an hour, the hall was already in a mess. Lucas walked upstairs while saying, "I don't want to see anything related to that woman here anymore. Simon, clean up this mess." I stood at the door, pinching my flesh hard to keep myself from laughing. Struck it rich. Butler Simon glanced at the pile of fake fragments on the floor and slowly uttered 2 words. "Impressive." All the fakes were smashed by Lucas himself, making them impossible to verify, while all the genuine ones are mine now. I need to hurry and ship them out to sell. An excited heart, trembling hands. I'm about to leave with the car keys. I ran right into Lucas coming downstairs. His clear yet foolish gaze sized me up as he asked, "Is Dr. Molly leaving?" "Nonsense. The female lead has already run off. Should I stay here to be your caregiver?" So I nodded. Lucas said, "All right, go back and pack your things. Starting tomorrow, you'll be staying here." I was completely baffled. Lucas's eyes blazed with fury. "At most a week. I will definitely find her. That damn woman never takes care of herself. You need to be on standby at all times." What else can I say? As long as you're happy. So I pretended to be downcast. "I hope Miss Lily is safe and sound." As I turned to leave, he called out to me again, saying, "Dr. Lou, why are your hands trembling? Damn it, I just can't help it when I think about the unexpected fortune." But Lucas already covered for me. "You must be tired these past couple of days. Simon, please drive Dr. Molly back." Simon and I exchanged a glance, each with our own hidden agendas. Once in the car, Simon glanced at the row of antiques in the back seat, his icy demeanor melting away as he excitedly grabbed my hand. "Sis, you're my one and only sister." I was dumbfounded. "You sure change your tune fast," Simon said with a grimace. "I'm an actor, you know. I got transmigrated into a book as a butler, and my daily catchphrase is, 'The young master hasn't been this happy in a long time.' Ugh, I'm so done with that idiot. Don't forget me when you make it big." I have to say, Simon's butler identity is really convenient for me to take advantage of, so I discussed with him and decided to take these few days to mark all the valuables in the villa that could be liquidated, waiting for an opportunity to take them away. But I never expected. Instead of an opportunity, I encountered the second female lead of this story, Julia Smith, the heiress of the Smith family conglomerate and Lucas's arranged marriage partner. That day, Lucas went out again to chase after his wife, so Simon and I took the opportunity to send the others away and, like a badger stumbling into a melon patch, scurried around the villa searching for treasures. Julia Smith was wearing high heels, dressed in Chanel, and carrying a Hermes bag. She stormed through the front door. I was crouching by the table, checking if the gem on the table leg was real. Without a word, Miss Smith rushed over and slapped me. With a sharp crack, I fell to the ground. Julia Smith sneered. I heard Lucas has a hidden lover at home, his first love. That must be you, right? Did you know he has a fiancée? Have you no shame? Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Why don't you go pick a fight with your first love instead of hitting me? Simon hurriedly stepped in front of me and said, Miss Smith, how can you resort to violence without even saying a word? What the hell? Did I even say anything? How is it, without even saying a word? I lay on the ground, pretending to be dead and not moving a muscle. Simon watched me lying unconscious and grew anxious. Oh no, someone's life is in danger. He was scratching his head and ears like a monkey beside me. Julia Smith frowned at him. Butler Simon, the last time I saw you, you were very composed. Simon was taken aback for a moment, then resumed his icy expression and said, This is the private doctor hired by the young master. She's been knocked unconscious by you and is now in critical condition. Even I, as an outsider, am worried, as the one responsible. Miss Smith, do you not feel even the slightest bit of remorse? This girl really knows how to twist things. I narrowed my eyes slightly and saw that Julia Smith indeed had a look of panic on her face. The guilt-tripping was very effective. I quietly tugged on Simon's sleeve and whispered, Call an ambulance. When we get to the hospital, tell them I hit my head and need a full body checkup. It'll save me the cost of a physical. After saying that, I continued to play dead. Simon sighed. You're really stingy. He knew me well. Once we got to the hospital, he went through the most expensive checkup packages one by one. It was all paid for by Julia Smith. Comfortable. After the checkup, I took a nap in the VIP ward and woke up leisurely, thinking it was about time. Julia Smith said apologetically, I'm really sorry, I mistook you for someone else. After saying that, she frowned as if she didn't quite understand. But it's really strange. I've had excellent upbringing since childhood, with knowledge and a broad perspective. Logically, even if I knew Lucas was still entangled with his first love, I should have found a more dignified solution. Why did I act so impulsively and resort to violence? I really want to shout in her ear, because you're trapped by the plot. As the supporting female character, you're meant to be tormented by the male lead, losing your rationality for his sake. Ugh, this novel is disgusting. Julia Smith said that she had been exceptionally capable since childhood, yet her family never allowed her to get involved in the business. They also told her that her only value was in a marriage alliance for the family. Deep down, she knew it was wrong, but she always forgot about it by the next day. I slowly realized that Julia Smith seemed to be developing a bit of self-awareness, so I tentatively said, Miss Smith, the reason you feel strange is because you are a character in a domineering CEO novel. Do you want to change the storyline? I can help you. Julia Smith was taken aback for a moment, then brushed her curly hair aside and sneered. That's quite an interesting thing to say. Even if I were the heroine of a novel, I've had a smooth and successful life since childhood. And my fiancé is an outstanding talent among men. Why would I want to change such a wonderful fate? Give me a reason to convince me. I remained silent for a long while before speaking coldly. You are the sharp-tongued, malicious second female lead. The world falls silent. Faintly, it seems I can still hear the sound of faith shattering. Julia Smith's face turned pale with anger. That piece of trash Lucas. What does he think he is? I have money and looks, and the line of people chasing after me stretches all the way to France. How dare he relegate me to the role of a vicious second female lead? After saying that, she pointed at me with an overwhelming aura and declared, Very well, you've successfully convinced me. Persuading her went much more smoothly than I had imagined. Julia Smith and I hit it off right away. I asked her, Does your Smith family, along with Lucas, want to acquire a software company called FX? Julia Smith nodded, but my uncles all said to leave it to the Lincoln family. I said, to hell with listening to others. We must secure this company. The game they're currently developing will go viral across the internet in a year. Julia Smith was fired up by my words, but when we discussed it further, we realized a serious problem. Julia Smith had no say in the matter. She couldn't persuade her family. And her own private savings weren't enough to cover the cost without her family knowing. I calculated the value of those antiques, and even if I added them in, it still wouldn't be enough. We were still short by 20 million. Julia Smith and I silently looked toward Simon in the corner. Simon was on the verge of tears. You finally remembered me. I walked over and patted his shoulder. Look on the bright side. This is just your character, a butler with extremely low presence. Simon looked at my sneaky expression and silently covered his chest. Even if you sold me, I wouldn't be worth 20 million. I was speechless. I hooked my arm around his neck. Let's go, the cash cow should head home. Time to go back to the villa and keep milking him. Simon and I sneaked back to the villa like a couple of sneaky dogs. As soon as we stepped through the gate, we saw the cash cow. Oh no, Lucas, throwing things around. At that moment, he had the classic red-rimmed eyes of a domineering CEO, leaning gloomily against the sofa. Seeing us, they couldn't help but frown in confusion. Why did you go out together? I spoke nonsense with a serious face. Just now, my colleague called and said they saw someone who looked a lot like Miss Lily, so I went out with butler Simon to check. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. I sighed. Miss Lily is weak, pitiful, and helpless. Where could she possibly go? She doesn't have any other friends. The more I spoke, the more regretful Lucas became. He held his head in agony, muttering to himself, "It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let her know about the arranged marriage. Lily must hate me so much. Ugh, what a scumbag." At a time like this, all you can think about is hiding it from her instead of refusing the arranged marriage. If I don't pluck you bald, my surname isn't Chen. I gritted my teeth and inadvertently revealed. If we use a bounty to collect information about Miss Lily, we should be able to find her quickly. It's just a pity. After saying this, I sighed, shook my head, and walked toward the room. Countdown 3, 2, 1 in your mind, Lucas said. Wait, the sheep took the bait. Lucas pondered for a moment and asked me, "Why did you say it's a pity?" I pretended to be clueless. Because a reward requires a lot of money, right? Is it worth spending so much just to find someone? After saying that, I covered my mouth again and looked at Lucas in disbelief, saying, "OMG, I actually forgot that Miss Lily is your beloved. No matter how much it costs, you will find her, right?" Lucas said with a determined look. Of course. He sat on the sofa, pondering for a moment, then beckoned to Simon in the corner. "Simon, you handle this. Whether it's notifying major media outlets or displaying it on giant screens in big cities, get this bounty out there, as long as there's a lead on Lily. Pay according to the effectiveness of the information." Simon asked, "What's the total amount?" Lucas exuded authority. "Spare no expense." That night, Simon and I crouched in the corner, plotting in secret. Simon asked, "Do you really know where Lily is right now?" I said, "I don't know." Simon said, "Then isn't this a scam?" I waved my hand. "I don't know where she is now, but I know where she and Lucas will reunite. It's on Valentine's Day a month from now. They'll have a romantic reunion on the overpass." Simon suddenly understood, then gritted his teeth. It's so good to have read the original novel and traveled into the book, so Simon pretended to be busy for half a month, even offering a reward. But all he got were some insignificant little pieces of information. This made Lucas even more anxious. It wasn't until the day before Valentine's Day that Simon revealed the crucial information that Lily would appear on the overpass. He also mentioned the mysterious person, that is, my offer of 5 million. I had expected Lucas to frown at least a little and accuse me of overcharging, but instead, he gave a sly smile upon hearing it. "Excellent, Lily is worth that price. I'm sorry. I underestimated how brain-dead he is. I should have set the bar higher." On Valentine's Day, the domineering CEO went to the overpass early to wait, afraid something might go wrong. I also found an excuse to follow along. We pretended to be passers-by and waited on the overpass for 2 hours. Finally, at the other end of the overpass, a frail figure swayed gently like a willow in the wind. Lucas lost control on the spot, ran over, and pulled Lily into his arms, then threatened her fiercely. "This time, I must lock you up and never let you leave again," Lily cried, her tears falling like raindrops on pear blossoms. "I'm sorry, our child is gone." Lucas stiffened, then gently and restrainedly stroked Lily's face to comfort her, saying, "It's okay, we'll have more in the future. We'll have twins, one in the womb, one outside." Simon and I, not far away, fell silent. Elegant, truly elegant. Originally, that would have been the end of it, but to everyone's surprise, a stone came flying from nowhere. It grazed Lily's forehead, instantly leaving a small cut, and crimson blood began to flow. Lily clutched her forehead and collapsed weakly into Lucas's arms. Lucas went berserk, frantically shouting at me, "Dr. Molly, save her quickly." I walked over speechlessly, ready to take out a pill band-aid. Another voice came, "Wait." I saw an elegant and dignified aunt walking over. Lucas exclaimed in surprise. Mom, Lucas's mother angrily pointed at Lily and said, because of her. The Smith family has offered to break off the engagement, you unfilial son. No one is allowed to save her today. Lucas gritted his teeth and said, no, I must save her, Dr. Molly. I'll give you 1,000,000. Lucas's mother, I'll give you 2,000,000. Don't save her, Lucas said, 300,000. I silently took out my phone. You too, can we start a group chat? You can bid in there, and I'll keep the evidence. In the end, I decided to end the auction with Lucas's high bid of 3 million. Because if it didn't end soon, Lily's wound would have healed. I managed to snag a good deal and raised a total of 8 million. We met up with Julia Smith at a bar to discuss what to do with the remaining funds. Julia Smith waved her hand and said, don't worry about it. I've managed to gather the remaining 10 million or so. I was surprised. Where did you get it from? Julia Smith said proudly. I privately contacted Lucas and told him I already knew about Lily's existence. I offered to step back from the engagement to let them be together without him suffering any damage to his reputation, but he had to pay me 10 million in compensation. What a promising talent, what a promising talent, a natural at seizing opportunities. She's really something. I'm moved to tears. In the original storyline, Lucas and Julia Smith entered into a business marriage, fell in love after marriage, and Lucas gradually developed feelings for Julia Smith but couldn't let go of Lily, putting Julia Smith through immense suffering. Now it's fine. 10 million completely severed the marital ties between Julia Smith and Lucas. We clinked glasses in celebration, discussing how to manage the business after acquiring the FX software. Julia Smith is a natural at business, and with my familiarity with the original plot, I can make decisive calls on major matters. This company has a truly promising future. Simon spoke up quietly. What about me? Damn, you scared me. Meeting Simon's resentful gaze, I felt a bit guilty. Your presence is so low-key. I forgot you were even here. Simon was speechless. His low presence is part of his persona, and that can't be changed. Simon said he wants to quit and work with us, both Julia Smith, and I think it's inappropriate. He has been working as the butler at Lucas's house for so many years, always revolving around the boss. It would be so strange to suddenly resign. Simon frowned. Then why not have Lucas fire me instead? I scoffed. That's difficult. After Lily returned to the villa, she and Lucas were inseparable. Since I was no longer needed, I decided to move out to focus on my career. On the day I went to pick up my luggage, Lucas was holding Lily while watching a movie downstairs. I packed my things noisily, but they didn't even notice. As I carried my luggage to the door, I suddenly heard a fart. It was especially noticeable in the quiet living room. The air seemed to fall silent for a moment. Lucas glanced down at Lily's embarrassed expression, then affectionately tapped her nose and said, why are you blushing? Do you think I'd mind? Every part of you is attractive to me, even that fart just now. It seemed to have a faint milky scent. After saying this, as if to prove his point, Lucas took a deep breath. Lily was stunned, and Simon's voice slowly drifted from the corner. Young master, I was the one who put it there. The air grew even quieter than before. Lucas's face turned red, then pale, the veins on his forehead throbbing as he slowly turned to glare at Simon, as if trying to kill him with a look. He finally squeezed out a few words after a long pause. You're fired. Every time Lucas saw Simon after that, he would be reminded of that milk fart. It's impossible for Simon not to be fired. He and I came out carrying the luggage together. After we walked a distance, we glanced at each other and couldn't help but burst into wild laughter. Ha ha ha. Did you see that expression on his face? What the hell is a milk fart? Ha 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 ha. I laughed so hard I almost threw up, and he even took a careful sniff. This is killing me. After spending so long in this absurd world, we've all become a little crazy. Successfully acquired FX software, Julia Smith quickly embarked on her path as a strong businesswoman. Initially, both Simon and I contributed funds, so the three of us became shareholders of the company. Julia Smith holds 45%, I hold 35%, and Simon holds 20%. In the second half of the year, the game developed by the company was released and became an instant hit across the internet. The company achieved unprecedented massive profits. Half of my share has been invested in young entrepreneurial talents, and every day I indulge in eating, drinking, and having fun, while also focusing on skincare, shopping, and buying whatever I want. At the jewelry store, I was staring at a row of rings in the display case, feeling troubled. Why do people only have 10 fingers and can only wear 10 rings? Suddenly, Lucas's voice rang out not far away. "Molly." He and his assistant came from the other side, with the assistant holding a gift box in hand. Lucas looked at me with surprise. "It's been so long since we last met. You've changed a lot. Of course, I have money and I'm willing to spend it on myself. Wealth nourishes a person. If there were no changes, wouldn't I have taken advantage of you for nothing?" I chuckled twice. President Liu is still as cool as ever. His gaze swept over the display case behind me, and he raised an eyebrow. "Which one caught your eye? I can give it to you." "Oh my God, really?" I feigned surprise, pointing to the one on the far left, then to the one on the far right. "This one, and this one." Lucas gave a wicked smile. "Wrap these two up for me," I said. "I meant I don't want these two. I want all the others." Lucas froze. For the first time, I saw a look of defeat on the face of the domineering CEO, and it made me quite pleased. Just as I was wondering how he would handle the situation, Lucas suddenly clutched his chest in pain and fell to his knees. The assistant exclaimed, "Mr. Liu, ugh, seriously, pretending to be sick just because you can't afford it." I shook my head in disgust and decided to slip past this embarrassing mess. Suddenly, my consciousness blurred for a moment. A feeling as if my soul was about to be pulled out of my body at any second. A terrifying thought flashed through my mind. Lucas is the core of the tycoon. If he's gone, this world is gone. No way. I just made so much money. I immediately dropped to my knees, pushed the assistant aside, and began performing CPR on Lucas. "You're not allowed to die. Do you hear me?" Slap. I gave him a hard smack. Still not awake. I pressed for a few seconds, and smack, another slap landed. Still not awake. I pointed at the assistant. "You give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation." As soon as the words were spoken, Lucas coughed twice and slowly woke up. He fixed his gaze on me, his face half-swollen, eyes burning with intensity. "Molly, you saved me." "Wait, I have a bad feeling about this. Why is there a pie chart in your eyes, and it's labeled with 30% emotion and 70% indifference?" Lucas grabbed my wrist and said with genuine emotion, "You've successfully caught my attention." "Ugh, that's so nauseating." I covered his face with my bag. Lucas said, "You're the first woman to treat me like this." "Aw, don't come any closer." I had a vague feeling something was off a while ago. It wasn't until now that I realized the third female lead of this book hasn't made an appearance yet. I used my financial resources to investigate. Originally in the early stages of her startup and lacking funds, the inspiring female supporting character approached Lucas to seek investment. The two found mutual admiration and quickly developed feelings for each other. And now, damn, I accidentally ended up investing in the female supporting character. Her goose farm has already started production, and a few days ago, she even sent me a box of goose eggs. So, the plot she was supposed to follow is now mine to play out. Is that it? Indeed, every cause has its effect. And Lucas's retribution is me. Lucas started frequently sending me messages and calling me. Every time, it's just the same few lines. "You are special. Are you playing hard to get?" "Oh, my charming little kitten." Every time I see a message, I feel a deep disdain for this world. Such a greasy person, and yet he can't be killed. I really want to shoot him dead. After being tormented by Lucas for a week, his inexplicably confident mother came to me. She got straight to the point and handed me a $5 million check. "Miss Molly, I remember you're a doctor, right? This is more money than you could earn in half a lifetime. I suggest you be sensible and leave my son." In the past, I would have taken the check, bowed, and said, "Yes, right away, I'll disappear." But now, the one thing I'm not short of is money. What do the wealthy pursue? Of course, it's class. So I slowly put the check away and gave Lucas's mother a disdainful smile. "Thank you, Mrs. Lincoln." On behalf of the Children's Foundation, Lucas's mother was furious. "What?" She was so angry that she picked up her teacup and splashed it, but I had anticipated it and quickly tilted my head, so the water missed completely. I elegantly tossed my hair back and said, "Don't worry. If I had even the slightest feeling for your son, I'd slap myself in my dreams." Perhaps because his mother intervened, Lucas stopped bothering me for a while. Julia Smith was fully devoted to her business, expanding her ventures further, and insisted on giving Simon and me a proportional share of every penny she earned. She said, "Without you two, I might have ended up married to Lucas, trapped at home every day, turning into a jealous and bitter second lead. What you've changed is my life. And this money is insignificant compared to the value of my life." And Simon, he started traveling all over the world. He said it was a side effect of being a butler. after being stuck as an NPC in the villa for too long, he started traveling out of revenge. I was also living a happy life, except for that annoying Lucas. That day, I was on my way to check out the house I had just bought, but as soon as I parked and got out of the car, someone suddenly covered my mouth and nose. I struggled violently but couldn't resist the effects of the drug, and soon passed out. When I woke up again, I was locked in an unfinished building, surrounded by desolation. Beside me, Lily was tied in the same position, quietly sobbing. The kidnapper, wearing a hood, let out a sinister laugh. "You are all women Lucas likes. Guess, if I said I could only let one of you go, who would he choose?" Upon hearing this, Lily's face suddenly turned deathly pale. I was speechless. This overwhelming sense of melodrama. Seeing that Lily was utterly heartbroken, I couldn't help but whisper to comfort her, "Don't worry, we'll be fine." Lily shook her head. "No, Lucas is already tired of me. He likes you now, and he'll choose you." I was speechless. Lucas quickly arrived upon hearing the news, and he came alone. The kidnapper pushed Lily and me to the edge of the unfinished building's platform. Down below, Lucas looked haggard, and upon seeing us, he cried out in anguish, "Stop, don't hurt them." The kidnapper laughed twice and said, "Back then, your Lincoln family ruined me, destroyed my family, and now it's your turn to taste that bitterness. Choose. You can only save one of them." Lucas's eyes were bloodshot. "No, let them go right now, bro. He already said you can only save one. What are you so helplessly furious about?" The kidnapper seemed even more excited to see Lucas like this. He pushed us a little closer to the platform, shouting frantically, "Hurry up and choose. If you don't make a choice soon, you won't be able to save either of them." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure approaching from behind. I couldn't take it anymore and kicked the kidnapper in the crotch. "Who the hell needs him to save me? My life is mine to decide." At the same time, a large number of bodyguards quickly closed in, and with a swift grappling move, they pinned the howling kidnapper to the ground. The kidnapper, face pressed to the ground, looked at me in disbelief and said, How did you do that?" I sneered. Ever seen the power of money? I had been prepared ever since Lucas set his sights on me. How could the world of a domineering CEO be without a kidnapping? I shook my ring, a tracker, then I opened my mouth and pointed to the tooth inside, also a tracker. The muscular, 8-pack abs security captain walked up to me and asked, "Boss, how should we handle this?" I waved my hand. "Call the police." I have no idea what Lucas was thinking. He came alone just because he was told to. And he even wore a suit and leather shoes. If you didn't know better, you'd think he was here for a fashion show. Lily stared at the well-trained bodyguards, frozen in place. I said with great pride, I handpicked each one of them. They all have inverted triangle figures and great physiques. Which one do you like? Want me to introduce you? Her face flushed, and she instinctively went to look for Lucas. I called out to her, "Want to chat with me?" Lily thought for a moment and nodded. I led her to a secluded spot, watching Lucas rush over, frantically asking the bodyguards if I was okay, while only casually mentioning Lily. Lily couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. I sneered, "Do you see his true nature now? He keeps saying he loves you, yet he hesitates between you and me. He has never given you the respect you deserve. Are you sure you still want to waste your time on him? I know you studied painting and have great talent. Holding a personal art exhibition was once your dream." Lily hesitated. I handed her a business card and told her to come find me once she had made up her mind. 3 days later, Lily came. This time, her eyes were much more resolute, and she seemed a bit embarrassed as she faced me. "I've made up my mind. I want to study abroad, but I don't want a single penny from the Lincoln family. Could you lend me the money?" I happily agreed, "Of course, and you don't have to pay it back. Consider it an investment. I'll cover all your expenses for studying abroad, as long as I get 10% of the proceeds from your future painting sales." Julia Smith muttered beside me, "Shrewd businessman." I smiled and said, "All merchants are cunning." Lily exclaimed in shock, "Do you believe I can succeed?" "Of course, honey, with your talent, you'll become a rising star in the art world. It's just that the first half of your life was wasted by Lucas, but it's never too late to wake up." On the day Lily went abroad, I went to the airport to see her off. She asked me, "I used to think Lucas was the most important person in my life, and my life always revolved around him. Lately, I've been wondering, will I really be happy without him?" "Molly, are you happy now?" I spread my hands and turned around, letting her see my designer clothes. "I'm happy when the weather is nice. I'm happy when I put on a beautiful makeup, and I'm happy when I win $5 from a scratch-off ticket." "Girl, happiness comes from within. As long as you put yourself first, you'll find the world is a beautiful place. And where I come from, we call that being the main character of your own life." Lily smiled and said, "I will strive to become the leading lady." Lily also left. Lucas's target of harassment became me alone. I couldn't stand the harassment anymore and decided to help cure his domineering CEO syndrome. Lucas was originally facing a serious business crisis, and acquiring FX had helped him a lot, but now that we've taken over FX, he has no choice but to find another way out. The land up for bidding in the suburbs is his opportunity. On the day of the bidding, Lucas was quite surprised to see me at the scene and once again became inexplicably confident. "You knew I'd be here. Did you come here just to see me?" I smiled without saying a word. "In a way, I did come for you." Lucas suddenly moved closer to me and whispered in my ear, "I still have something important to do. Be good and wait for me in the car. I'll have dinner with you later. Stop eating, you're going to throw up the leftovers from last night." I found a seat in the back and sat down. This piece of land is inconspicuous, so not many people are competing for it. That's why Lucas has been sitting calmly in the front row, watching the bids from the previous small companies. When the time was about right, he offered 50 million. The entire room erupted in boos, and sure enough, no one bid any higher. Lucas curled the corner of his mouth and beckoned to his assistant. "Book a restaurant. I'm going to have dinner with Miss Chan." The auctioneer proceeded with the final steps. 50 million for the first time, 50 million for the second time. 50 million for the... I slowly raised the placard in my hand. 60 million. It was like a depth charge had been dropped, stunning the entire room. All eyes turned in my direction. They immediately began whispering about my true identity, wondering why they had never heard of such an invisible tycoon. Lucas looked at me in disbelief, his face filled with shock. "Good, I'm very satisfied with their reaction. The protagonist should always make a grand entrance at the end." Lucas was just a stepping stone to build up the anticipation. Damn, no wonder everyone wants to be a domineering CEO. This feeling is indeed exhilarating. The auctioneer announced, 60 million for the first time, 60 million for the second time. Lucas gritted his teeth. 65 million. What did he say to his assistant that made the assistant run over and relay the message to me? "Miss Chan, Mr. Lu says you're playing with fire." I directly raised my bid. 80 million. Great. "You idiot, you successfully pissed me off." After completing all the procedures at the auction house, I walked out. Lucas was seen standing by the luxury car, waiting anxiously. Upon seeing me, he immediately approached and said, "Who exactly are you?" I sighed with a complicated expression. "Do you know that Chinese businessman who discovered the massive oil field in Africa last year?" Lucas was stunned. You couldn't be. I nodded. "Yes, I have nothing to do with him." Lucas was speechless. I spread my hands in a cheeky manner. "I'm just an ordinary successful person. Do you think everyone can be the protagonist, amassing endless wealth, just by idly falling in love every day like you?" He didn't seem to understand what I was saying, but he soon understood. Without this piece of land, the Lincoln family had no other opportunity to turn the situation around. Once the funding chain broke, all their competitors swarmed in, like vultures spotting carrion. They began to feast on the Lincoln family's assets. Even Julia Smith, at my suggestion, took a share of the spoils. 7 months later, the Lincoln family went bankrupt. Lucas's villa was auctioned off, and I bought it. I went to see the house on the day Lucas moved out. He looked dejected, having lost all his former pride, and he looked at me with confusion. "I don't understand. I was serious about you before. No woman could ever refuse me." "Ah, here we go again." I scratched my ear. Yeah. "Because I'm a man." He looked at me suspiciously. "Did I offend you somewhere?" "Good question." I looked at him sincerely and shook my head. "Oh no, did you forget I'm a doctor? I just saw early on that you suffer from a severe case of domineering CEO syndrome. It's easy to treat. Just lose all your assets and stop being a domineering CEO, and this annoying problem will naturally disappear." Is there anything wrong with my prescription? Not at all. But we can't just ignore Lincoln completely after his family goes bankrupt. What if Lucas is fragile and might consider suicide? So I have to give him opportunities both openly and discreetly, and if necessary, even support him to make a comeback. If Lucas has the ability to achieve something remarkable again, by then he should realize that a so-called domineering CEO is not someone who treats women as disposable or spouts ridiculous lines like, "You're playing with fire." But all of this depends on his own fate. After finishing all that, I took a vacation and traveled abroad for a while. I was at a fashion show in France watching male models when I got a call from Julia Smith. She was brief and to the point. Come back, attend the shareholders meeting, and set the next goal. So I had to pause my journey around the world, at Lincoln's family villa. Oh no, my villa. Julia Smith Simon sat in the yard, watching the sunset and drinking wine. I was unpacking the painting Lily sent back from Milan, a month ago. She held her first solo exhibition and became an instant success, and I made a fortune with that 10% profit. Lily gave me the most popular painting from the exhibition. I unwrapped it and saw white doves, people, and the sea, but it was too abstract for me to understand. Lily said this painting represents me. I was the one who made her see the outside world. Julia Smith tapped the table. All right, let's get down to business. She had cut her hair short, wore delicate makeup, and looked overbearing. Take a look at the company's plan for the next quarter. I pushed the document back. No need, I trust you. Simon also said to me, you know, I'm completely clueless about these things. Simon is no longer someone who goes unnoticed. His persona used to make him easily overlooked, so he started wearing bright yellow clothes, got earrings in both ears, and dyed his hair pink. Now, wherever he goes, he's the center of attention. I only glanced at him and then closed my eyes. Simon said discontentedly, "What do you mean?" I said, "Your outfit is hurting my eyes." Simon was speechless. Julia Smith laughed beside us. I said to Julia Smith, "Actually, you don't need to give us a share anymore. All of this is the business you built yourself. We didn't really help. Now, both Simon and I have our own main careers. I'm into investing, and he's into media. We're not short on money." Julia Smith shrugged. "Money, no one is short on it, but what I lack is friends. I want to tie you down with money. After all, interests are what last forever, right? I really want to drag Lucas, wherever he is, over here for a lesson. Look at their level of awareness. Any talk of feelings without discussing money is just playing games." Julia Smith closed the file and made the final decision. Then it's settled. Next, we'll take over the Smith family group. I want to make the Smith family Smith my Julia Smith, and show those men that I'm not inferior to any of them. Simon clapped vigorously and raised his glass. "Let's make a toast," I said. "To freedom," Julia Smith says. "To power," Simon says. "To us, cheers," as the sun sets. Our journey continues. No matter what adversity we face, we must always remember, be sure to save yourself from peril again and again. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see, transmigrated as the villain's daughter in a CEO novel, when he imprisoned the female lead. I silently complained, just imprisoning her is useless. What about her family? Aren't you going to use them? When he couldn't find the female lead, I frowned in disdain. I heard she has a grandmother in the countryside who dotes on her, no one to take care of them. It's so inconvenient for the elderly in the countryside. It would be better to bring them here. Later, the villain no longer had time for the female lead. He just wanted to go home and give me a good spanking. As the most malicious female supporting character in history, I nearly caused the female lead's death, almost ruined the male lead's company, and put the relationship between the male and female leads in jeopardy. To maintain the stability of the world, I was forcibly expelled from my original world and sent to the Transmigration Bureau to be reincarnated. In this life, I am the daughter of William, the main antagonist of the entire story. I believe I can join forces with him to rule this world. Young master, the paternity test results are in. This little girl is indeed your biological daughter. Hearing this, William frowned and fixed his intense gaze on me. While he was sizing me up, I was also sizing him up. He looks decent and is said to have substantial assets, making him barely qualified to be my father. So I took the initiative to show goodwill and sweetly called him Dad. William's gaze was wandering, and he nearly toppled off the sofa. He cleared his throat lightly. "Don't shout nonsense. I haven't admitted anything yet." The phone on the table rang. He glanced at it and then looked at the butler standing nearby. "Prepare a room for her. Don't mention this to the main house for now." Then, he stood up and took a long stride. A glint of shrewdness flashed in my eyes. The name mentioned in that call just now was clearly a girl's. If I'm not mistaken, that must be the female lead. I quickly stepped forward and hugged William's leg. "Dad, are you going out?" He raised an eyebrow, signaling for me to continue. I put on an obedient smile. "I want to be with you." He pried my hand away. "No." A bright and spacious office. William threw me onto the sofa with a backhand motion, his face dark with anger. "Stay here, don't run around." After saying that, he gave his secretary a few instructions and then went into the small room inside. I knew he was going to do something shady. After all, I used to be the same way back in the day. To gain William's trust, first, I need to show him my capabilities, so I coaxed the secretary into buying me a small cake while I sneaked out. I was caught halfway by William's people and dragged back. William had a stern look in his eyes, holding a ruler in his hand. Didn't I tell you to stay here and behave? I propped my face with my hands, acting cute. Dad, I'm so bored here. I want to stay with you. His expression softened considerably, but his tone remained tense. No. William's confidant looked at me with curiosity, pinching my little cheek. Boss, is this your daughter? Your daughter is already this big. William frowned and brushed their hands away. Don't mind her, let's continue. Where were we just now? One of the bespectacled confidants said, MS Tech has launched a new product that overlaps with our own, which might take away some of our company's customers. William nodded, leaned back, and spread his hands. So, what good ideas do you have? Let me hear them. Here it comes. I lowered my eyes, suppressing the excitement in my heart. Let me hear what kind of schemes and tricks you have. I know their director. On the day of the new product launch, I'll secretly give him water laced with laxatives and make him fart loudly in such a big event. Recently, their company bought a batch of money trees. I'll have someone pour boiling water on them. You're outdated. I heard they found a girl whose birth chart is extremely auspicious for their company's wealth, and I'm going to poach her with a high offer. I looked up in confusion. What is all this? Is this some kind of kid's game? It won't shake the opposing company in the slightest. It's completely pointless. To make matters worse, William actually agreed, slamming the table in excitement. Let's do as you say. I gritted my teeth silently, thinking, what a bunch of useless fools, totally unworthy of being villains. I stood up on the chair and raised my chubby little hand. I still have a trick up my sleeve. Yours won't work. The eyes of the group all turned toward me, and they all cooperatively showed expressions of surprise and shock, except for William, who glared at me and tried to pull me down. I dodged his hand, raised my voice, and spoke in an inspiring tone. Since the other company has a product that conflicts with ours, we should hire someone at a high price to steal their core technology, use it in our product before they launch theirs, and then sue them for plagiarism. At the very least, we could poach their partner companies, cutting off their funding and preventing them from investing in future work. What do you all think? Silence, dead silence. The rather sinister confidant was dumbfounded. All right, I gave him an approving look, a promising young man indeed. Then, I was lifted up by William, who said with a sinister tone, you're quite good at this. I proudly puffed out my little chest. That's not. Behind me, Jack, wearing glasses, had his lenses reflecting light as he casually reminded me, Mr. William, usually this kind of situation is caused by watching too many cartoons and reading too few books. William stroked his chin. Get her into a school. I gritted my teeth and flailed my short little legs. You're just too foolish to think of such a simple solution. To quickly gain William's approval, I pitifully added, Dad, I don't want to go to school. I just want to stay by your side. Resistance was futile. Monday, I was carrying my backpack and still trying to resist, but William forced me into the school. These idiots. Without me, they have no idea how badly they'll lose. With a gloomy face, I was led into the classroom by the homeroom teacher, who pointed to a seat by the window. Wendy, you can sit there. I propped my chin on my hand, bored and almost falling asleep. What's so great about kindergarten anyway? Just a bunch of little brats who can't even control their pee and poop. Suddenly, a chubby hand reached out from behind and snatched the pencil case from the boy next to me. Let me borrow it for 2 classes. He said 2 classes, but in reality, he played with it all day and never returned it. My desk mate, who is also the owner of the pencil case, looked at him pitifully. Can you give it back to me? The little chubby boy stuck out his tongue. No, I won't, and that's final. Idiots. They don't even know how to bully someone properly. I rubbed my hands together and shook a finger. Classmate, this won't do. Your methods are too low level. Come, let me teach you. You should throw animal carcasses into his desk, like rats, snakes, or frogs. Slap him in the restroom, splash him with dirty water, make the whole class isolate him, and steal his meal card. That's how you bully someone properly. The little chubby boy stared at me for a moment, then pouted and burst into loud sobs before running away. No, why did he run away? Useless, another useless one. I stomped my foot in frustration. Couldn't I find a single clever person, Thank you, the bullied little boy thanked me in a soft, childlike voice, poor and quiet. He had been bullied since childhood. He seemed weak and easy to pick on. But in reality, as he grew up, his mind gradually became twisted. My thoughts became active again. The villainess wasn't fighting alone. She was winning people over and building her own trusted circle. This person in front of me seemed very suitable. You're welcome. Next time he bullies you again, you must tell me. The little boy nodded obediently. Okay, little follower. Got it. After starting kindergarten, the time I spent with William greatly decreased, and I had no idea what he was doing. Grandpa the butler wouldn't tell me either, only reading storybooks to me over and over. Why did Snow White live happily ever after with the prince? Because she was kind. Why was Little Red Riding Hood able to escape from the wolf's mouth? Because she was also kind. So, be a kind little girl, with a heart full of goodness and always facing the sunshine. But I didn't listen to a word, because I saw William's car, and there was a woman inside. I obediently lay down and told the butler I was going to sleep, so he would leave. In reality, as soon as he left, I quietly hid in a hidden spot to spy. Here it is, the grand scene where the villain imprisons the female lead. It's too far away, I can't hear what they're saying. I'm leaning forward, sticking my butt out, trying to catch their words. From their expressions, it's clear they're arguing. The female lead looks furious. Slamming the door with a deafening bang, William was shut out. And all he could do was sheepishly rub his nose. Useless old man. I'm frustrated with his incompetence and stepped out from the corner. Just imprisoning her is pointless. You can only have her body, not her heart. What about her family? Aren't you going to make use of them? William narrowed his eyes. Imprisonment, using her family. Do you realize what you're saying? Of course, you like her, but she doesn't like you, so to have her, you imprisoned her. William laughed in anger and waved his hand. Butler, confiscate the novels from the young lady's mattress, and no TV for a month. Damn it, I was only doing it for his own good. He simply doesn't understand my good intentions. I was so frustrated, and this frustration lasted until the next day at school. The sidekick silently hands me the homework. Wrote it in your handwriting. I unapologetically take it and give him $500. Treat yourself. Go have something good for lunch. I don't make him work for nothing. I'm always generous to my little sidekick. He took out his snacks to share with me. Wendy, here, have some. I never eat this kind of junk food, but to win over my sidekick's heart, I tried a bite. It's actually pretty tasty. One more bite. It's even better than the snacks the villain brought back for me from abroad. I unapologetically took all his snacks and put them in my desk drawer, confiscating them. The little sidekick looked at the empty backpack and smiled. I'll bring you more tomorrow. I munched on the potato chips. Make it cucumber flavor. Another boring day. Finally made it to the end of school. The car that usually waited for me at the school gate was nowhere to be seen, and the teacher pulled me aside. Your dad will be a bit late. I'll wait with you here. I stood at the school gate, fuming with anger. The teacher is chatting with another teacher. The little prince from the Lee family is also in this kindergarten. How come I haven't heard about it? They probably don't want the public to know. Let's just focus on doing our own jobs. I frowned upon hearing this. What little prince? I didn't know we had such a figure in our kindergarten. Could it also be used for my benefit? I was making plans when William arrived, appearing at the door looking travel-worn. Sorry, something came up. I'm late. I magnanimously didn't hold it against him. In the car, his phone kept ringing non-stop. Check Susan's flight information. Ask her friends if they know where she went. If all else fails, ask her family. Find her as soon as possible. From his brief sentences, I knew that the female lead had run away, and they were playing out a game of her escaping, him chasing. I excitedly sat up straight. Was it finally my turn? I heard she has a grandmother in the countryside who dotes on her, and no one to look after her. It's so inconvenient for an elderly person in the countryside. Why not bring her here? I spoke very subtly, but I think he understood what I meant. After listening, the villain silently searched around. Where's my stick? Jack, wearing glasses, leaned out from the passenger seat and handed over the stick with both hands. Mr. William, the stick is here. The two of them stared at each other in silence. Jack leaned forward and offered. Children only learn through discipline. William touched the tip of his nose. It doesn't seem to have come to that yet. Jack retreated, looking disappointed. What are those two whispering about? They actually ignored me. Did they not understand my hidden meaning? Well, they're not very smart. After all, unwilling to give up, I squeezed in. Susan's grandmother is her weakness. As long as we bring her grandmother over, Susan will come to us. Before William could speak, Jack had already eagerly turned around and handed him the stick with sincerity. Mr. William, being kind to the child is being cruel to yourself. Think it over carefully. Realizing something, I pointed at myself in disbelief. You're not going to hit me with that stick, are you? William pulled his lips into a straight line, expressionless. Congratulations, you guessed wrong. We, the villainous female characters, are always adaptable, I pouted. Acting cute and coquettish, Dad, I was wrong, please don't hit me, okay? Jack was shocked. William, sorry, she's just too adorable. After this incident, I realized that although William is a villain, he has a soft heart. This means the heavy responsibility of ruling the world can only be shouldered by me alone. I sat in my seat, looking troubled, not even eating my favorite potato chips. My little sidekick looked at me worriedly. Wendy, is something wrong? My tone was somber. It's nothing. He insisted on getting to the bottom of it, stubbornly pursing his lips. Wendy, can you tell me, maybe I can help you? As soon as he said that, I seriously looked at this unexpected little follower for the first time. A slightly nervous expression, innocent eyes, and deep black pupils stared intently at me. Perhaps I could trust him, so I asked sincerely, do you want to rule the world with me? The little follower pointed to himself, bewildered. Me? Is it me? I lowered my eyes in disappointment. I knew it. Waving his hand, he slumped weakly onto the table. Beside him, a flicker of struggle crossed his follower's face. Then he clenched his fist with determination. I'm willing. My eyes lit up, and I gripped his hand tightly. From today on, we are the best partners. The sidekick was so excited that their face flushed red. Unable to speak, I realized I still didn't know his name after all this time. Oh, what was your name again? The sidekick pouted in disappointment, looking aggrieved. Wendy, I'm Lucas. People who achieve great things don't miss a single opportunity. While my useless father was still looking for someone to find out where the female lead was, I have already gotten into the car with Lucas, heading to Susan's grandmother's house. For the first time, I felt fortunate to have Lucas as my little sidekick, because he was the one who called the car. And he was the one who looked up the address to Susan's grandmother's house. This time, even fate is on my side. The driver was very nice and dropped us off right at the door. He was whispering something to Lucas, so I quickly walked over. Uncle Driver, how much is it? I'll pay. His family was already poor, and he had done enough. He shouldn't have to pay any more. The driver glanced at Lucas and probed. 100. I breathed a sigh of relief. Thankfully, it wasn't too expensive. After all, my watch only had a daily limit of 500. After paying, Lucas was still dawdling behind. I arrived first at Susan's grandmother's house, where the front door was wide open. In the courtyard, a spirited elderly woman was lying on a chair enjoying the cool breeze. Hearing the commotion, the elderly woman looked over while fanning herself, her eyes kind and gentle. What a beautiful little girl. She looks just like a doll. Who are you here to see, little one? My face flushed red. She said I was pretty. My prepared speech suddenly felt useless. I clutched the hem of my skirt. Fidgeting nervously, Susan asked us to come see you. At this moment, Lucas also rushed over, and the old lady stood up from her chair. Susan, that child, really, sending two such young kids to see me, isn't that just reckless? What if something happened? Little ones, where is your home? Great-grandma will take you back. A glint of shrewdness flashed quickly in my eyes as I looked brightly at the old lady. Great-grandma, our home is in Mountain City District 1, please take us back. This is what they call effortless success. We got the same driver who brought us here. He dropped off Susan's grandmother and me first, then Lucas. When we arrived, I invited Lucas, who was still in the car. Do you want to come over to my place and play for a bit before heading back? His eyes lit up, but then dimmed as he thought of something. Forget it, maybe next time. All right. I waved goodbye to him and walked the old lady home. At the gate, a tall figure stood. It was William, of course. He held the ruler, tapping it on his hand, smiling sinisterly. Where have you been? You're just getting back now. The old woman's voice also rang out. William was stunned for a moment. Grandma, he stepped forward to greet the old lady. Grandma, what brings you here? He thought of something and squinted at me. I puffed out my little chest, hiding my achievements and reputation. This family would fall apart without me. Susan's grandmother seemed very familiar with William and chattered away with complaints. Susan, that child, really. sending such a young one to see me, not even afraid something might happen. I liked this girl the moment I saw her. Is she your child? Well, Wendy is my child. She's a bit mischievous. I hope she hasn't caused you any trouble. Not at all. What a well-behaved child. Their voices faded into the distance, and I slowly followed behind, continuing to plot my scheme in my mind. The next step is to threaten her with the female lead's grandmother. After finishing the meal prepared by the butler, I carefully reviewed my plan in my room. At that moment, William pushed the door open. He had a dark expression on his face and was holding a ruler in his hand. Sensing the danger, I immediately admitted my mistake. Don't hit me, Dad. I was wrong. No way. William's expression froze for a moment. Then he gritted his teeth. Am I the kind of person who hits children? That's too low class. He used the ruler to lift my mattress, revealing my treasured novels underneath. He smiled thinly. These are confiscated. Strike a snake at its 7-inch mark. The same goes for disciplining a child. Immediately, I clutched William's leg, heartbroken, and cried like a 200-pound child. Dad, why don't you hit me? William let out a cold laugh. Humph, wishful thinking. I stomped my foot in frustration. Standing right where I was, I had clearly helped him. Yet he repaid kindness with ingratitude. Since he's being heartless, don't blame me for being ruthless. There's no school on Saturday, but workers still have to go to the office. I arrived at William's company with my backpack, and the receptionist kindly bent down. Little one, who are you looking for? I said in a sweet voice. Sister, I'm looking for the brother with glasses. She thought for a moment. You must be talking about Vice President Simon. I nodded. I'll call him for you. Simon arrived quickly, carrying my backpack and leading me into his office. Go ahead. What do you need from me? I moved a chair over, barely meeting his eye level. Maintaining my composure, I slapped his desk, looking indignant. This company was founded by you and my dad together. You both put in the same amount of effort, but you're stuck in the VP position. Are you content with that? Useless dad. You forced my hand. I didn't want it to come to this. Content. Being a VP is great, Mr. William does all the work. I don't have to worry so much, and I still get paid. It's fantastic. The corners of my lips, which had been upturned, froze. Don't you want that position? Simon seemed intrigued, and a smile played on his lips. Then what can you do to get me that position? I breathed a sigh of relief. That was a normal reaction for him, though I felt a faint unease in my heart. Find his faults. As long as he negatively impacts the company's image, people will naturally oppose him continuing in that position. What if we can't find his faults? How could he be so dense? I glanced at him, feeling frustrated by his lack of progress, then create faults for him. Don't you know there are so many ways to do that? Simon's smile deepened, grinning like a sly old fox, and I had a bad feeling about it. He took out his phone from under the table. The call lasted 20 minutes, exactly the time we had been talking. Mr. William, did you hear that? Damn, he set me up. On the phone, William's voice sounded as if he were laughing in frustration. Wendy, this time I'm definitely going to spank you hard. I glared at Simon, snatched the phone from his hand, and said fawningly, Dad, I was just joking with Uncle Simon. I was testing his loyalty for you. William replied indifferently. Oh, so what did the test reveal? I gritted my teeth. He's very loyal. Simon, thank you for the compliment. This trip seems to have been a waste of effort, but it's only on the surface. On a deeper level, I took the opportunity to find the female lead's phone number on Simon's phone and wrote it down. This way, I can contact the female lead. She won't answer my calls, especially since William is still looking for her everywhere. But I'm so smart. I sent her a message. Your grandma is with me. If you don't want me to do anything to her, come meet me at this place. Then, I playfully begged Susan's grandma for her phone to play with and secretly turned it off. I just needed to wait for her at the agreed-upon place. No need to worry about her not coming. The agreed-upon meeting place was a bubble tea shop. I ordered an Oreo bubble tea for myself and waited while drinking it. Finally, my phone watch rang. Susan's voice sounded cold. I'm here. Where are you? I watched Susan walk in through the door. Tall, radiant, and poised, she frowned, coldly scanning the surroundings, trying to find me. I sipped my milk tea and slowly walked over. I'm here too, right in front of you. Susan squinted, looking around but still not seeing me. Are you kidding me? I reminded her, unable to bear it any longer. Look down. So Susan lowered her head and saw a puffed up, angry face glaring at her. Her voice involuntarily became shrill. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't see you just now. What do you need from your sister? My eyes darted around. She was trying to appease me, as expected of the female lead. Only she could see my wicked soul at a glance. I started putting on airs. Leave. Wait, what's the male lead's name again? I don't think I know it. Under Susan's expectant gaze, I cleared my throat. Leave that man and go back to William. Hearing this, Susan reacted, pinching my chubby cheek. Who is William to you? I replied reluctantly, my dad. She widened her eyes in shock. Damn, you're William's daughter, that scumbag. His daughter is already this old. She went on a rant, looking as if she wanted to tear William apart with her gritted teeth. I smirked triumphantly. If William dares to spank me, I dare to ruin his plans. After cursing, Susan glanced at me awkwardly and brushed her hair back. Baby, I'm not usually like this. She remembered what I said and looked at me with difficulty. But I really like it. I can't do it. I leaned closer to her and spoke maliciously. Think about your grandma. She's in my dad's hands. You don't want to lose your grandma, do you? I looked into her eyes, expecting to see anger and resentment, but to my surprise, she pulled me into her arms and hugged me tightly. William has such a cute daughter. Let big sister give you a kiss. How can there be such a cute baby? You were born for your sister to kiss. I clenched my fists. Damn it, I really wanted to threaten her a couple more times, but she smelled so good. I'll let her off the hook for now, since she called me cute. Baby, how about this dress? It suits you too. In the mall, Susan kept handing me clothes to try on, even though I was already too tired to try anymore, but then I met her hopeful gaze. For her sake, since she asked me, I reluctantly tried on one more item. After changing, I walked out with a reserved air, waiting for her to praise me. I frowned, not hearing her praise, and noticed a man and a woman had entered the shop. They seemed to be acquaintances of Susan's. The man just seemed so pretentious. Susan, are you following me? This makes me feel suffocated. I already told you, yeah, you is just my assistant. The woman was even more pretentious, the smugness in her eyes almost overflowing. Susan, it's not the kind of relationship you think between me and Mr. Lou. I'm just here to accompany him to buy clothes. Please don't misunderstand. Susan looked quite helpless. I didn't. The man interrupted Susan. Since you distrust me so much, why don't we take some time apart to cool down? I couldn't bear it anymore. Such tactics could even hurt Susan. And I watched her silently, feeling useless, another good for nothing. I think your methods are too amateurish. Why don't I teach you how it's done? The man looked at me impatiently. Where did this little brat come from? The woman covered her mouth in shock. She looks a bit like Miss Susan. Could she be her daughter? Two rude loaders. I took a step back, covering my nose. Auntie, did you eat garlic for lunch? Why does your mouth smell so bad? The last time I saw you go to a hotel with another uncle. I forgot to tell you, that person seems to have AIDS. You should stay away from him quickly. Oh, uncle. Why do you have a lump on your neck? It's just like the one on that uncle. Instantly, both of their expressions changed. The man, without a second thought, rushed out in a hurry. The woman quickly followed, scrambling after him in a fluster. Behind, Susan had a complicated expression. Baby, how did you know she and I tricked them? People with ulterior motives can't handle being tested. She took the opportunity to kiss my face again. Baby is so smart. Coming out of the mall, she looked very down, constantly playing on her phone. I pursed my lips. Since she had just complimented me, I could reluctantly offer her some comfort. Don't be sad. At the same time, she pressed the voice button. Baby, I just went through a breakup. My heart hurts so much. I want to lean on your big chest muscles. I'm shocked. After sending the voice message, she looked down at me, smiling. Baby, what did you say? I narrowed my eyes. How many babies does she have? What a player. I turned my head. Nothing. Ding dong. Susan's phone received a message. It was an image. I didn't see it, but she pulled up an image to show me. Isn't this person handsome? I glanced over and saw a biker boy, feeling annoyed. I commented blandly, bullshit. Susan said, oh. Then let's listen to baby and get a different one. Something seemed off. The sun was setting when Susan finally remembered to take me home. Suppressing my excitement, the most crucial part of the plan was finally here. Susan picked up her numerous bags, yet still managed to hold my hand. Let's go, baby, I'll take you home. I held her hand tightly. Heroin acquired. I still had to do it myself. It was a piece of cake. As the car was about to pull into the yard, I stared at Susan's gentle profile and gritted my teeth. If you don't want to go in, then don't. Just get out here. I'll go in by myself. Susan smiled gently. Of course, I have to safely take the baby home. She called me baby again, and my face flushed intensely. I turned my head away. Whatever. The car came to a steady stop. William and the old lady were both in the yard, looking as if they had been eagerly awaiting our arrival, thinking about sneaking out. I hunched my shoulders and quietly hid behind Susan. Can't see me, can't see me. Susan excitedly ran toward the old lady and gave her a big hug. Grandma, I missed you so much. The old lady happily patted Susan's back, smiling broadly. Grandma missed you too. Let me see, you've gotten so thin. I tried to sneak away with small steps, but William appeared behind me like a ghost and said faintly, your allowance will be cut to 50. I looked back at him in disbelief. 50. Wasn't he trying to kill me? I clenched my fists, my heart burning with anger. I brought back the woman you love most, and this is how you treat me. Upon hearing this, William's expression was momentarily bewildered. Love most? Woman? Wendy, what are you talking about? He still won't admit it. No wonder he can't get the female lead. Even the biker boy in the picture looks better than him. Don't play dumb. Isn't Sister Susan the one you love most? You love her but can't have her. So you want to imprison her. She desperately tries to escape you. She runs. You chase. The noise we were making was too loud and attracted Susan's attention. She laughed so hard she couldn't stand straight. I was wondering why Grandma was willing to move. I begged her so much, and she wouldn't leave. It turns out it's because of Wendy. She's just too cute. Baby Wendy, would you like to be my daughter? William's face darkened, and he refused without a second thought. No. The old lady glared at Susan. Can you, as an aunt, be a bit more reliable? Don't scare Wendy. My worldview was shattered, and I said blankly, Auntie. Susan kicked William, displeased. You didn't even mention me to Wendy. I'm her own aunt. Familiar bloodline pressure made William say reluctantly, Wendy, say, Auntie. From their conversation, I learned that William and Susan were siblings, but one took their mother's surname and the other their father's, after becoming an adult. Susan moved out and rarely came back. The last time William was turned away was because Susan's parents were eager for her to get married but were afraid to tell her directly, fearing it would hurt her feelings, so they sent William instead. Annoyed, Susan bought a ticket to go out and clear her head. Fearing something might happen, the rest of the Santos family asked William to bring her back. William had no intention of bringing her back himself and simply delegated the task to his subordinates. Because they had different surnames, few people knew that William and Susan were biological siblings, and someone on the car at the time had already come up with a plan. Let William go ask her family, but little did she know that Susan's family was William. No wonder he was so quiet. Tears streamed down my face when I learned the truth. My dreams were shattered, and I realized I was just a clown, my heart heavy with despair. I went to school, my face numb and blank. Lucas was already used to me like this, bringing up the prepared snacks to honor me, thinking of the mere $50 left in my watch. Tears almost welled up again. I swatted the snacks away. Don't recognize me as your boss anymore. I'm not worthy. Lucas was anxious. Why not? I pulled up my watch balance and showed it to him, tears in my eyes. I only have $50. I can't afford to support you anymore. He pulled out a black card. Don't cry. I'll take care of you. My tears immediately receded, and I looked at him expressionlessly. I'm such a clown. He's not some poor boy. He's a runaway prince. Let's break up, Lucas sincerely said as he slipped the card into my pocket. Wendy, my money is your money. All my money is for you to spend. I looked at Lucas's naive and sweet demeanor and showed a standard villainous smile. That's more like my good little sidekick. The little fatty who had been training for a long time decided to seek revenge on me. Pointing his chin at me, Wendy, I'm not afraid of you this time. I laughed foolishly without stopping. Ha ha ha. He looked at me for a moment, then burst into tears again. I said, noob, although life was easy, I still felt uneasy. My martial arts skills are going to waste, my talent squandered. It's truly a pity. Finally, one day, I was kidnapped. I sat excitedly in the car. My mundane life had found a little spice. I was led inside. With just one glance, I recognized him. The biker boy Susan had shown me. He didn't look at me, engrossed in his own world, striking a pose. So you're the dog who made online shopping fall for someone else. After seeing who it was, he almost bit his tongue. Why did you catch a kid? The burly man who caught me said straightforwardly, Mr. Spencer. According to the information we found, the reason Miss Susan fell for someone else was indeed because of her. Spencer said unequivocally, how is that possible? He walked up to me, squinting as he scrutinized me. How could she choose a little kid over me? I looked at him, my heart pounding, because I smelled my own kind on him. He's more like a true villain, someone I could team up with to rule the world. This time, I won't be so reckless. I need to see his strength first. I looked at his arrogant eyes and said calmly, Susan is my biological aunt. Upon hearing this, a flicker of panic crossed Spencer's eyes, and his hands trembled as he untied me. Little niece, can we pretend none of this ever happened? I looked at him and smiled. Not possible. He lowered his eyes in disappointment. I said again, but I know why Auntie isn't with you. His mood was pulled up and down by me, fluctuating rapidly. And he said urgently, why not? Because she was heartbroken by a scumbag. Leo, you know who I'm talking about. It was him. He cheated. Can you avenge Auntie? Spencer's eyes narrowed dangerously. Of course. Show me what you're capable of, young man. In just one short week, Leo's company declared bankruptcy, and he was thrown into prison. The kingdom he founded was gone just like that. I was shocked when I heard the news. Was Spencer really that strong? After bankrupting Leo's company, he came to me. I've bankrupted the scumbag's company, but I can't reach your aunt. Little niece, can you help me? I agreed, but I couldn't help asking, how did you do it so quickly? Can you teach me? Although Spencer didn't know what there was to teach me, he still told me, his company already had problems. We just found someone to collect evidence of his bribery and tax evasion, and then sent him to jail. That's all. I couldn't believe it. Is that all there is to it? It's that simple. I fell silent. I thought it would take a series of events like kidnapping, framing, murder, arson, and a deeply abusive relationship to get someone put away. It seems I was overthinking it. After speaking, Spencer stared at me hopefully. Little niece, please help. I cleared my throat. No problem. I hope he never finds out that Susan ignored him because of me. My aunt happened to be at home, so I casually sat down next to her. Auntie, can you show me that photo again? Susan couldn't remember and asked me in confusion, baby, which one? I picked at my hands, head bowed, the one where I said, dog shit. Oh, she remembered and clicked on the photo. Baby Wendy, what's wrong? I leaned on her shoulder, acting spoiled. Auntie, actually, I was just talking nonsense back then. I think this is pretty good. It would be great if I could see him at home. Of course, I'll grant your wish, baby Wendy. I blushed. Love you, Auntie. William walked by quietly with tea in hand, gritting his teeth secretly. Wendy, I'm your father. You've never said you love me. And you, Susan, didn't you say you didn't like coming back? Why are you staying at my place all day and not going home? Are either of you even listening to me? Ah, what a speech that no one paid attention to. After how harsh he was to me before, who would still care about him now that he has such a gentle and beautiful aunt? Spencer started going out frequently with his aunt. When they saw me, both of them looked at me at the same time. One said, little niece, thank you. I will thank you. The other said, I brought the person to you. How is it? This feels pretty good. I sprawled lazily on the sofa, feeling content. Let someone else deal with the villainous stuff. I'm going to enjoy my afternoon tea. If only my annoying old man hadn't shown up with his annoying stick. Have you finished your homework? Or are you just playing around? Go do your homework now. I called Lucas while running. Quick, let me copy your homework. Damn, even the villainess has to do homework. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.